Well, there's a lot of big name players rumored to be traded this offseason, happening in Winnipeg with Hellebuck, Scheifele, Dubois, their core guys. We've heard about Alex DeBrincat out of Ottawa, possibility could be traded. And the one name that kind of stuck around through the trade deadline, who was really linked to the Edmonton Oilers and a few other teams, was Erik Karlsson. And after reports came out yesterday, it's showing that Erik Karlsson is open minded to being traded to the right team. Of course, he has a modified no trade clause, so that kind of limits where the San Jose Sharks can trade him. But there is also teams willing to take on that salary cap, so we'll get into that. But if you're new to the channel and like anything rumors related, news, trades, whatever there is in the NHL and the MLB, we got it covered here on the channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We are 594 away. Thank you for I think it was about 6 of you that subscribed yesterday. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this, as Erik Karlsson signed an 8-year, $92 million deal back at the end of the 18-19 season. So it started with 19-20 season where he makes $11.5 million. I know when the Oilers and other teams were interested in him before the trade deadline that San Jose was willing to come down and retain, I believe it was 15% if I'm not mistaken, where it came down to $10 million going the other way. They would eat up $1.5 million. Now, a lot of teams were kind of scared about that, even though Erik Karlsson had his best year by 19 career points, that he could be this guy that he, could still have it. He is 33 years old. But the thing is about his contract, it's about 37 when he's done, 38 depending on his birthday. So now you got to look into that, and the rumor mill is that San Jose and Erik Karlsson are open to try and find a trade so he can try and win that Stanley Cup and go out and become a champion and leave like that. He has been injury prone, don't get me wrong, over the last few years. It has been, and we'll go check those years out right here. I just had them. I just went to Cap Friendly quickly. And over the course of his career, he had a really bad time in San Jose ever since getting there. He played 53 games, 56, 52, 50, and then finally last season he played a full healthy season where he put up unbelievable numbers, 101 points, 25 goals, 76 assists. He was a minus 26, but I don't blame that all on Erik Karlsson. That is somewhat the goaltending and the team around him as well. San Jose wasn't really that good, so being a minus 26, scoring 101 points, that means, he was on the ice for 26 goals against, more than what his team scored. But then again, I'm not blaming that all on Erik Karlsson. San Jose is kind of on a rebuilding stage, and I know at the trade deadline they were trying to get 2 firsts or a first and a high-end prospect, plus some roster players to fill out their roster until their young guys are good. And that's something that teams are willing to do nowadays, is trading your first-round pick for a solid defenseman, a solid forward. Teams are willing to do that nowadays, and they're not talking just about first round picks either. When a team goes, for instance, we'll say Carter Hart of Philadelphia goes, we want 2 firsts. That's either like a first round draft pick or a first round pick from, between last season and 3 years previous. Someone that's developing that was a first round draft pick. So you think of, like, for instance, in Edmonton's terms, when they traded Reed Schaefer. That was technically the first round pick going to Nashville with the other one because he was a first round pick of last year's draft. So that's what the San Jose Sharks are wanting, is they don't want all the draft picks. They want someone you drafted in the first round and they see potential in, that they could develop and be on the team within 3-4 years. Because let's be real, San Jose is not going to be a Stanley Cup contending team within the next 3-4 years. That is their rebuild phase. They're going to get their young guys, draft really well, and go on from there. So you look at teams, and I know the Detroit Red Wings are one that they're not in the market for a defenseman, but they have a really good depth pool of players, prospects, that they're willing to trade. A lot of teams do have that, the higher end teams do, that haven't traded their first in a while. So that could be a trade scenario where we see, for instance, Erik Karlsson with 33% retained going for a first round draft pick and then all the other money lining up. With the salary cap going up $1 million, that does kind of help teams in a sense where, okay, we don't have to ship off $1 million just to get Erik Karlsson. We can go out and we have this $1 million. We could just trade $5 million worth of players then at that point. So the buzz around the NHL now is, where will Erik Karlsson line up? He's probably going to win the Norris this year. He's in the running for the Ted Lindsay with Connor McDavid. I believe it's David Pastrnak. And he had a really solid year. And for his career, he's played in 920 games. So one more full season, he passes that 1,000 games. He has 761 points. That's a pretty good point percentage for a defenseman who kind of fallen off the snide when he came to San Jose, where, 53 games, 45, that's pretty good. 56, 40, and it just kind of decreased from there until last season, where one season he had 52 games and only could put up 22 points. So the offensive side of things are turning around for Erik Karlsson, and a team that needs that guy who can put up points and is a really good offensive defenseman. You got a defensive defenseman, say like Joel Edmondson or Matthias Ekholm, playing with a guy like Erik Karlsson. I'm not saying the Oilers are going after Karlsson, don't get me wrong there. But you put him with a defensive defenseman, Erik Karlsson can shine, and that's one thing that kind of struggled with being with Brent Burns in San Jose. Was Burns is more of an offensive side of guy. He does have the physicality, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to the defensive aspect, it's more of a, not high end like a defensive defenseman is. So where will Erik Karlsson wind up? That's for the insiders to tell us. But we'll keep an eye on that, because I'm 100% sure Erik Karlsson will eventually want to go win a cup. And if San Jose is going to do a full rebuild mode after trading Timo Meier at the deadline, Thomas Hertl's name's been out there, we could probably see an Erik Karlsson trade either this offseason or at the deadline somewhere soon, because he's going to want to win that Stanley Cup. And San Jose is going to want that rebuild to start. But that is it for me today. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll catch you on the next one.